Alright everybody, so today is sort of a strange video. I wanted to talk about the idea of how much our perspective of things would change if we got to live in the quantum world. Now, that sounds kind of strange. Why would our perspective change if we got to live in the quantum world? Well, you hear people saying sometimes that, hey, you should just enjoy the experience and not be so reliant on the outcome, right? Because this idea is that we're very dependent on the outcome. We expect certain outcomes, and if we don't get those, then that's not good. But I think that if we got to experience the quantum world, I think we would finally understand that outcomes don't mean anything. It's just that our experience. All we really have at the end of the day is just an experience. So for example, let's say you make a choice, right? In this world, when you make a choice, you get to live out that choice. But what if you found out that you can make two choices at the same time? And you're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about, Tony? Well, that's how the quantum world works. The idea is you can make a left and a right at the same time. And both of those things play out. So you're probably thinking, holy shit, so you don't get to make just one choice? No, you get to make pretty much, there's always another choice to be made, two choices at the same time, three choices at the same time, five choices. So you think, where do you draw the limit on that? So what if you got to see yourself from a quantum state and realize that you've experienced every outcome? So then if you've experienced every outcome, then what is the name of the game then? Isn't it, because I make a choice and then I get the outcome that I want, now I'm happy. But what if you simultaneously have every outcome possible? Then what's the name of the game then? It clearly can't be for you to have an outcome. Because like I said, we're very dependent on outcomes for our happiness. But what if every scenario has been played out? Then what is the trick? Then after that, all you have is experience, right? So at the end of the day, you're left with just the idea of the outcomes don't matter, it's just your experience. So all we are is something that exists, having an experience, and the outcomes don't really matter much. But I think it's hard for us to sort of see it from this point of view because we only have one limited point of view. Like I said, we don't get to go into the quantum world and realize that we've played every single outcome out, every scenario has been played out. Because the thing is, when you don't see every scenario play out, you only identify yourself in one scenario, the scenario that played out in this life. But what if you're many things, What if you're the good guy and the bad guy at the same time? What if in another life, in another scenario, you made a left instead of a right, and now you're doing something completely different? Maybe you're somebody who's in jail who's killed 5 people. Or maybe you took another left or right in another scenario, and now you're I don't know, some religious figure. You're like a priest or some sort of person working in a church, and you thought to yourself, wow, I'm not even religious at all. And it was like a completely different turn. So who are you really? If you saw yourself from the quantum level and you saw infinite versions of yourself, which one is really you? None of them, really. None of them or all of them. But you can't just pick one. So when you see someone, you're like, oh, you're this. No one's just this. We're everything. At the quantum level, we're all everything. So you can't single out one person by one thing. So yeah, so we're basically everything, and all we're doing is just having an experience. And there is no ultimate version of us, you know? Like if you looked at all your quantum selves and parallel realities, you can't just pick an ultimate version of you. They're all just different versions of you. So there is no ultimate life you can live. There is no ultimate version of you. There is no perfect life. There is no nothing. It's just infinite experiences, different variables. That's all you have, just experiences. And I think if we can actually do that, like if you can put on a device right now and just enter the quantum world and see all your infinite versions, you realize, oh wow, okay, so this person that I'm taking really seriously right now, that's just one random version of me of infinite versions, and that's the way it is with all of us. And ultimately we're just having an experience, and that's pretty much it. There is no perfect experience, no perfect version of you, just infinite variables, and that's it. And I think that thought would help someone out a lot if you were just stuck in this idea of like who you are and being really dependent on the outcomes and the choices you've made and who you are. And because we can be really hard on ourselves, like super hard. A lot of people live in absolute misery because they're so hard on themselves, you know, because they're so reliant on certain expectations and results to define themselves. And if they don't have those, they're living in misery. But I think if they can see that you're everything, there's infinite versions of you who's done absolutely everything. And there is an ultimate version of us. This is just one version of you having this experience, and this is one version of me having this experience. Maybe in another alternate timeline, I don't even have a YouTube channel, right? This is just my experience in this one, you know? And that's it. Infinite versions of us, infinite possibilities. There's no ideal, perfect version of us. We're just having an experience. That's pretty much it. So that's my idea of if we can enter the quantum world so our perspective can change. And that's it. See you, bye.